Murali sir? Hello?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, shall I put the presentation now itself? Load
Yes,
it?
sir. No problem.
Good afternoon all. We welcome you all to the second day session of 5-day virtual faculty development program on research methodology hosted by Postgraduate Department of Commerce, Christodi College of Management and Technology, in association with Research and IPR Cell and IQAC. Today's session will be on the topic holistic and multidisciplinary research. First, I invite Richu Shaji for seeking the blessings of God.
ലോകം മുഴുവൻ സുഖം പകരാന സ്നേഹദീപമേ മിഴി തുറക്കൂ ലോകം മുഴുവൻ സുഖം പകരാനായി സ്നേഹദീപമേ മിഴി തുറക്കൂ തജന നിവാരണ കനിവിന്നുറവേ കാട്ടിൻ നടുവിൽ വഴി തെളിക്കൂ ലോകം മുഴുവൻ സുഖം പകരാനായി സ്നേഹദീപമേ മിഴി തുറക്കൂ.
Thank you, Richu. We all feel blessed indeed. Now I invite Priya Sarah Matthew to formally welcome the gathering.
Good afternoon all. It's a moment of great privilege and honor for me to extend a hearty welcome to all of you to the second day of National Level Virtual Faculty Development Program on Research Methodology organized by Postgraduate Department of Commerce in coordination with IQAC. The resource person of today's program is Dr. Murali Vallabhan, Director of Marine Institute of Management. I welcome you heartily for today's session.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to welcome Father Joshi Champuri CMI, Principal of Jodi College, Dr. Varghese Antony Sir, Vice Principal and HOD of Commerce Department, Dr. Anu Antony, IQAC Coordinator, and all other participants to this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Riya, for an earnest welcome address. Let us now know more about our resource person, Dr. Murali Vallabhan. He is currently serving as Director, Marian Institute of Management, Marian College, Kuttikalam. He has presented over 250 papers in various national and international seminars and conferences on various aspects of corporate social responsibility, eco-spirituality, environmental education, and Indian culture. He has supervised and produced 8 PhDs from various institutions. He is having about 40 years of teaching experience and 25 years of research experience. He was awarded St. Beckman's Award of Best College Teacher in 2010. Sir, you can now proceed with your session.
Okay, thank you. Is my PowerPoint visible? Hello?
No, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, now.
It's okay?
It's okay, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So a very good afternoon to all of you. I think yesterday, Dr. Anil Ramachandran has given a very clear picture of what research is and how you should proceed with the research. And today, I am supposed to speak to you about the holistic vision and multidisciplinary approach in research. And you know that this is the most modern trend in research. And now we cannot segregate any of the branches of knowledge and keep it in watertight compartments. We are living in an age of interrelationship, interconnectedness, interaction, etc. And it is because of the development of the subject of environmental science that we now find a very close relationship between almost all the disciplines. Hence, I have adopted a rather historical and analytical method to speak to you about the holistic vision and multidisciplinary research. Now, first, let us see what about the condition of the researchers in the world. How much percentage of the population? Researchers account for only 0.1% of the world population. The research works of this 0.01% influence, 0.1% influence the life of 99.9%. So there are 8.8 million researchers or scientists as per the World Science Report of UNESCO. And South Korea had the largest number of scientists and researchers per 1,000 employees with 16.61 in 2020. China has a total of 744,042 research papers in 2022 with 527 per capita papers per head population. US has a research publication with 1,875 per capita publications. That means each person is publishing 1,875 papers per year in US. UK has 2,959 and India has 138. This shows the research position of India among the world nations. So let us see what is research according to the Indian and Greek thought. First, we will see what had happened in India with regard to research. The history of research says that the word is govershanam, and it has come from the etymological aspect of the word is that it has come from gov, means cow, and eshanam means the search. The word means search. And what does the cow search usually? The cow searches grass due to hunger. Just like research is searching again for truths. Searching again and again for truths. And just like the cow, the researcher searches a topic due to the thirst or hunger for knowledge. This is a very good simile. The cow identifies grass from other plants and shrubs. The researcher identifies a particular problem to find exact truth from many diverse manifestations. The cow eats grass by cutting it and swallowing it. And a researcher collects the data and processes. After eating and swallowing, there is the rumination. After collection of data, there is the analysis of data. And at last, the nutrients of the grass is used for a healthy body in the cow. In the last stage of the research, the findings and suggestions for a healthy society or social welfare. This is the simile that we find, and in the Indian research methodology, you can find a lot of things. Jityasatya Vishayam, Samasya, Purvapaksham, Siddhantam, like that. And that is not our serious discussion. It is just like the subject matter, doubt, objection of doubt, principles and doubt clearing, review and conclusion. This was the methodology used in India. And the ancient Greek research methodology was that they had a love of wisdom for all the subjects. Mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and the ancient city-states were constructed in architecture, theaters, Olympic games, and whatnot. Studies were there, but not like in the modern period. The knowledge was built on pure thought. Real thinking was one of the methodologies that they adopted, and observation was known as the first order of knowledge, and this order of knowledge was considered secondary in Greece. Democritus removed his own eyes so that sight would not distract him from speculations and intuitions. That was the importance given for what you call the imaginative condition, predominated by second order of knowledge or reflected knowledge or images of knowledge. And also they used deductive reasoning. Then coming to the Middle Age, it's very interesting to know that if you want to know more about this particular tendency in research, how research came or slowly evolved into a multidisciplinary form of research. The starting point is this one, 16th, 17th, and 18th century science. The Baconian, Newtonian, and Cartesian paradigms turned the whole search of knowledge from a divine one to the scientific one, more rational and logical. And Francis Bacon was the first person. And Francis Bacon, he introduced the new empirical method of scientific investigation. And he said, nature had to be hounded in her wanderings, bound into service, and made a slave. She was to be put in constraint, and the aim of the scientist was to torture nature's secret from her. And this approach made human beings as the master of knowledge, and the planet Earth or Mother Earth was merely subservient to the human conduct and human search. So nature was the slave and human beings were the masters. And the scientific community as a whole still possesses this attitude. Then the second important person who has contributed much to modern science is Isaac Newton. And he has given the mechanistic model of the universe. He believed that the image of the world is like a perfect machine, giant cosmic machine, which is completely causal and determinate and governed by immutable laws and certainty. And if nature goes out of order, if this great machine goes out of order, nature could be either repaired or its parts could be replaced. But this is impossible in many cases. A cubic meter of forest soil cannot be repaired or replaced because that soil consists of the microorganisms and other things which have been evolved during a course of tens of thousands of years. And if you have to replace that soil, you have to replace it intact with the same soil, which is more than 10,000 years old. Now, René Descartes, who was a mathematician, came and he said that the nature is a perfect machine governed by exact mathematical laws. He considered human body as a machine. And John Locke's atomistic theory of society as one unit, and also the individuals as parts of the whole society, gave birth to another notion of the concept of reality in social science. For example, in economics, we consider one unit, production unit, as part of an industry. And so many units constitute the industry, just like so many individuals constitute the society. And in democracy, we say one man, one vote. And the majority is determined by the carrying of these votes together, counting of these votes together. So individuals are very much important in this calculation, individual units. And it is an analytical method of breaking up thoughts and problems into pieces and arranging these in their logical order. This is known as reductionism. We divide or separate a general phenomenon into many parts, and we are concentrating on those parts to seek truths through research. As a result of the above three paradigms, that means the Newtonian or Baconian, Newtonian, and Cartesian paradigms. These three paradigms are very important in nurturing the successive researches as well as in shaping or molding its form. So Bacon said that human beings are the masters. Newton said that the world is a great machine, the mechanistic model, and Descartes said that in this model, everything could be separated, and specialized studies will lead us to the ultimate truths. So these three paradigms, as a result of these three paradigms, the concept of the earth as a nurturing mother disappeared. So before the Middle Ages, there was a concept that everything was divine and was considered in toto. So that concept of nature disappeared. Organic view was replaced by mechanistic model, and anthropocentric attitude and anthropogenic problems arose. This is a great change, a turning point in the history of humanity with regard to studies and with regard to the development of all the disciplines. Now, as a result of this, human beings became supreme. The concept was that man is the master and nature is the slave. And also they said, they believed that if everything goes out of order, the nature could be repaired and replaced. Hence, human beings began to use the inquiry to truth or inquiry about truth or research for the welfare of human beings solely without taking into consideration the natural factors. As a result, antagonism developed. And we can see that most of the research which were done were for the war purposes. For example, sanitary napkins of 1920s were used first for the wounded soldiers. Now it is widely used by civilians. Radar and walkie-talkies of 1930s were used first and invented for war purposes. Now they are used in air traffic control system, business and public safety. Night vision equipment, ballistic missiles, nuclear technology, and jet engine of 1940s were first invented for war purpose. Night surveillance, space exploration, weather forecasting, nuclear energy and medicine, and in airlines. Now these are being used. Another thing is that digital photography and internet from ARPANET of 1960s, these were also first used for war. And now digital cameras and information technology use them. Satellite navigation and GPS of 1970s. And now we have GPS in day-to-day life. Drones were made in 1936, and those were used for the Gulf War of 1991. That was the major use. And now drones are now they are used in industries and agriculture in 2014 onwards. And with the inventions for war purpose, what is the state of the affairs in the world? The world that we live in are characterized by so many peculiarities. For example, economically speaking, global GDP at current prices was around $93.86 US, $93.86 trillion US dollars in 2021. It was given by IMF. Now, how is this world or global value of products being used nowadays? Conflict and violence cost to the world more than 14.4 trillion, about 16% of the total global product or income is used for war and war purposes. This is equivalent to $5 per person per day on this planet. Now, we should remember that the most important thing is the average income of a person is about only $1.9 per day. $1.9 per day, whereas the amount that is spent for destructive purposes per person per day is $5. The world's 10 most violence affected countries are spending up to 55% of their GDP on the effects of conflicts and violence. And this was reported by the World Economic Forum report in 2021. And again, these are all data that substantiate our argument that the world is using much of its income for war and other purposes. For example, if 16% of the income is used for war purposes, only 9.38% is used for the health, and about only 10% is used for education. So this is the situation. So this situation forces us to say how scientifically foolish we are. We spent billions of dollars to find life on other planets and trillions of dollars killing the life on this planet. And as a result of these things, the findings are that the IPCC studies reveal that prior to 1800 AD, the carbon dioxide level was only 240 parts per million. But in 2021, it crossed 400 parts per million. What is the significance of the year 1800 AD? We find that almost the Industrial Revolution began with that period. So prior to Industrial Revolution, the carbon dioxide level was only 240 parts per million. But now in the 21st century, in the year 2021, it crossed 400 parts per million. So it shows that it's solely due to industrialization that the level of carbon dioxide has increased. This is given by International Panel on Climate Change, a group of scientists themselves, not by any politician. Now, the second thing is that NASA gives an alert on dipping groundwater level. 21 out of world's largest 37 aquifers have passed their sustainability tipping points. That means they are on the verge of extinction. Future world war will be fought for water. And we find that the water level of Dead Sea, Aral Sea, Utah's Great Salt Lake, they are all disappearing, so to say, diminishing, going down. Each year globally, a net loss of 26 billion tons of soil due to erosion and degradation. The net loss of soil is too much. So what happens is that the quality of air is falling. There is severe water shortage awaiting us. And soil is also facing degradation. So when air is facing danger, water is facing danger, and when soil is facing danger, how can we survive on this planet? Also, there is climate change like tornadoes, heat waves in one part and freezing cold on the other part, which is known as the erratic behavior of climate. All these things make our life very much difficult. And now we are passing on to another aspect. The culmination of current crisis urges the experts to have an alternate models of development. So far what we were following as development is not the real development, it is maldevelopment, because it has brought on, as we see, an array of dangers for humanity, not only humanity, but all the living organisms. Therefore, UNEP, UNDP, UNESCO, World Bank, IMF, world universities, and even in India, the UGC and AICTE, all these organizations, agencies are thinking of an alternative model of development. And development models are designed by the collaboration of researchers and experts in various disciplines. It is known as multidisciplinary contributions. For example, the just felt coronavirus, the pandemic caused by less than 5 grams of virus, and think of the dimensions it has reached. It has caused medical, economic, social, political, and religious impacts. That is why we say that even a 5-gram weight corona could cause such a danger in almost all the dimensions of our life. This is the case for a holistic vision to take everything into account as much as possible, a holistic vision to take everything in as a whole and integrated approach by finding the interrelationship and multidisciplinary research. So multidisciplinary research is the result of the so-called multidimensional problems that we confront in our day-to-day life. It is not at all local, it is national, and at the same time, it is global. And therefore, we can use a new term, coining both the local and the global, which is known as the glocal. Now, the purpose of research. In this context, what is the purpose of research? Research is a real contribution to information. Past information, we collect it as history, knowledge. Knowledge is both theoretical and practical. In material sciences, life sciences, and social sciences, we have knowledge and wisdom. Wisdom is the projection of studies and modeling. What will happen in future if this is the trend for so many years? What would be the trend for the next decade, next 2 decades, 3 decades, and so on? And we can also explain it like learning from the past, that is experience. And experience gives us a lot of information and applying it in the present. So based on the past experience and the lessons that we study from that, we should apply it in the present. And that is known as experiment or knowledge. And projecting or planning for the future, that is known as intuition or wisdom. So it depends upon the wisdom. If climate change has happened, take into consideration the present, the seriousness of the present, and what has happened in the past. That also should be taken into account in order to make our future very much secure and safe. Suggestions and solutions should be made based on the past experience, present context, and those studies only will help us to make our future very much secure. So in this study of in this mode of research, output, outcome, and outreach. Output is the quantity, outcome is the quality, the capacity, and based on the quantity and quality, the results of the research should reach the society, outreach. There should be impact for the research. And here we come to the concept of holistic vision. Holistic vision. The term holistic is from the Greek word holos, means whole, refers to an understanding of reality in terms of integrated wholes, whose properties cannot be reduced to those of smaller units. This is the basis of system. Everything is taken as a system. The ecosystem, the social system, the biosystem, the materials that are involved in actions and reactions, they are taken as a planetary system. So systems theory looks at the world in terms of interrelatedness and interdependence of all phenomena. And in this framework, an integrated whole whose properties cannot be reduced to its parts is called a system. Example, living organisms, societies, ecosystems, etc. And why we call it as a system? Because the chlorofluorocarbons emitted from the factories of America will cause climate change in Australia. Tens of thousands of miles apart on this planet, if in one corner of this world, if CFCs are emitted, it will result in the climate change in another part of the world. And also we should remember a theory forwarded by Edward Lorenz in 1963, which is called the butterfly effect. It's very interesting to know that a butterfly which flutters its wings in Amazon forests, causing tiny air currents, can result in a tornado after having passed tens of thousands of kilometers. That means the fluttering of the wings of the butterfly causes tiny air currents. But in due course, after covering distance of thousands of kilometers sometimes, these tiny air currents have the capacity to turn itself into tornado. Can anybody believe that? This is known as the butterfly effect. So that means any small change that we make on this planet in the name of development and our life will have tremendous consequence in future, even beyond the imagination of the people and also scientists. And this has brought, again, holistic vision means thinking about big picture in a medical study. Holistic refers to aspects while addressing the whole person, including their physical, mental, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual aspects, while taking social factors also into consideration. So if you are going near a doctor for treatment of headache, he should see the holistic, he should take into consideration the holistic aspect of that person. Maybe not only due to physiological reasons, sometimes it may be due to psychological reasons caused by some sociological reasons. So everything is interrelated. So this interrelationship forces us to view this as a whole. Unity is reached through the holistic vision, and diversity is realized through the unidisciplinary or specialized studies. There are two aspects of studies. One is going down, vertical, and the other is horizontal. And vertical studies are specializations in each discipline. And a holistic and multidisciplinary education would aim to develop all capacities of human beings: physical, emotional, intellectual, aesthetic, moral, spiritual, and social in an integrated manner. This is given in the new education policy of 2020. An integrated approach. The integrated approach is the means, and holistic vision is the end, or the picture that we get as a result of integrated approach. And this approach helps the researcher to get a unified and interrelated view of apparently separate disciplines. Starting off an industry. This is the example. I'm reading almost without much elaborating. I'm proceeding because only 1 hour is there, and within the stipulated time I should stop. Otherwise, this is a topic which should be covered within, say, 3 or 4 years. 4 hours. The integrated approach helps the researcher to get a unified and interrelated view of apparently separate disciplines. Starting off, an industry needs economic, ecological, legal, political, health, engineering, infrastructural studies. Suppose we are going to start an industry, what all certificates are required? The environmental clearance is a very, very important one. The engineer will do his work and assess the cost. An economist is very much necessary. The legal aspects, whether it is coastal zone or the CRZ zone, very much ecologically sensitive zone. If it is there, whether the pollution standards are adhered to, all these things are to be taken. So it is a multidisciplinary thing. Here, researchers are able to integrate information across disciplines, and this enhances the chances of finding permanent long-term solutions. If only one aspect is taken into account, the problem it may generate, that industry may generate, may be multidimensional. And if we don't foresee the multidimensional chances of problems, we won't be able to find a permanent solution, but only we will be able to find temporary solutions and partial solutions. So integrated approach is the means, and holistic vision is the end in a multidisciplinary world. Now, we are seeing another aspect. Why we need multidisciplinary research and holistic vision? Because economics cannot explain why the Himalayan glaciers are retreating or receding every year between 18 and 20 meters. Maybe glaciologists are able to explain. Yes. How does it affect an economist when Himalayan glaciers are receding? There is no direct impact. But a glaciologist will be able to see what are the impacts on environment, or an environmental scientist may be able to do it better. So economists cannot explain that, but at the same time it is happening. And what about the glaciologists? Glaciologists are unable to explain why diminishing marginal utility operates in consumption, or why laborers are dissatisfied with a particular management in an industry, or why the inflation is taking place. Glaciologists are unable to explain. And these phenomena could be clearly explained only by economists. And with regard to consumption, as psychological economics is an emerging area, the psychologists also may be able to do that. Why a particular person is doing or having a particular consumption habit. Either economists or psychologists may be able to explain this. Mathematicians cannot measure the love of a mother to her child, or the intensity of hatred between enemies, or the depth of compassion and faith in people. Mathematicians, we are now living in a world of quantifying everything. We are trying to quantify everything, and as a result, we are living in a world of research where quantification has become an inevitable part. But there are certain things which cannot be quantified that also we should take into account. And these non-quantifiable factors are also having its impact on the society. Maybe we will be able to measure it, or it can be manifested in a different way. For example, the happiness, the mental happiness, human happiness index, we are now trying to quantify that. So these qualifying factors, qualities, how can you weigh the love of a mother towards her child? Or can you assess, can you measure the degree of hatred between two persons? The degree of compassion that is overflowing in the heart of a person. So these are certain things which we are not able to quantify properly. There are many attempts to quantify that, but still we have not, I don't think that we have fully succeeded in making that. But the reflective indexes to a certain extent can quantify this, but that is not perfect. It's not perfect. But at the same time, these relations, human relations, are also influencing the events on this planet. And if for the reason that they cannot be quantified, can we leave them out of research? No. Then what is the methodology to do that? How can we include these qualities also in our research and to assess their impact on social events? That is the important thing that we are hurdle that we are facing now. Why holistic thinking? Just like the economists, we say that, and the glaciology, we say that physicists are not able to explain. Yeah, this is one of the important things that we have to note down. Why atom bombs are made by human beings? Physicists are not, or nuclear scientists are not able to explain why atom bombs are made, but they are very good at describing how atom bombs are made. Perhaps an expert in international politics may be able to answer this question of why. To many phenomena, events that are happening in and around us, if we ask the question why repeatedly, the answers will reach to such an extent that the found answers are incapable of explaining that phenomenon. Sugar is sweet, but neither the carbon nor the hydrogen molecules, which are the constituents of sugar, are sweet. Hydrogen is a combustible gas. Oxygen helps burning, but the combination of these two puts off fire. Actually, the combination should have doubled the fire, but they put off fire. This means that no discipline is complete in itself to answer all the questions arising out of even that discipline. Even unidisciplinary questions are sometimes found very much difficult to answer by the unidisciplinary researchers. Hence, as the problems are complex and sophisticated, we have to remember that the sophisticated and subtle problems have to be dealt with subtle answers or subtle treatment of the subject and researchers. And that's why in the postmodern research trends, certain trends are being found now in research, from physics to metaphysics and biophysics. Even each discipline is slowly spreading to other disciplines, from chemistry to biochemistry, green chemistry, soil chemistry, etc. From economics to meta-economics, eco-economics, behavioral economics. Now we are hearing about medical engineering equipments. Engineering for medicine and medical equipment. So engineering has spread to that area. And research studies on the why aspect of the phenomena, along with the what, how, when, and where aspects. This brings the holistic and multidisciplinary approach in research. Research and research methodology changes accordingly to why aspects. Under the umbrella of environmental studies, this is a very important development which has taken place recently. The research and the disciplines have multiplied. Under the umbrella of environmental studies, we hear eco-spirituality, eco-theology, ecosophy. Ecosophy means ecology plus philosophy. The other is ecology plus theology. The first one is ecology plus spirituality. Eco-politics, green technology, that is, or in other words, we can say eco-technology, green benches in courts, green laws like NGT, National Green Tribunal, green management, green marketing, green accounting, eco-literature. That means with every discipline, the aspect of environment has come, and the best example for multidisciplinary studies is the subject of environment. And in that subject, there should be an integrated approach because everything is interrelated. your faith system, your belief system is related to climate change. If there is a flood or very much drought or a tornado or a forest fire, we don't get sufficient time to go to church or temple or mosque. We will run away from there to save our lives. So what in essence is that the happenings in and around us as a result of a variety of reasons which can be explained in terms of multidisciplinary researches have begun to influence us in our day-to-day lives. Hence, we find that sustainability has become an important component of modern multidisciplinary research and holistic vision. And First World Conference on Environment in 1972 put forward a term known as the integrated studies. The World Commission on Environment and Development in 1987, which produced a book called Our Common Future, put forward sustainable development. And to summarize that, I should say that sustainable development is an important aspect of modern multidisciplinary studies and researches. There is a university known as the UN University Efforts for Sustainability Research. There is a separate department for that. And SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, they range from no poverty to global partnership for sustainable development. So social issues, political issues, economic issues, scientific and technological issues, all these issues are coming under one umbrella of sustainable development goals with the United Nations nowadays. Now, sustainable development goals, this is already described, and multidisciplinary and holistic research in our new economic policy, that is also there. The fundamental principle of NEP is multidisciplinary and holistic education. NEP introduction, page 5. Catalyzing quality academic research in all fields through a new national research foundation. All fields are to be brought together and quality academic research is to be promoted. Promoting multidisciplinary nature of higher education institutions and emphasizes on holistic education. NEP 17.8 and coordination through higher education institutes all over the country from UGC to universities and private and philanthropic institutions. So all throughout the country now the aim is to bring holistic vision and multidisciplinary research and studies. Now, there are some 2 or 3 subdivisions of the multidisciplinary research. Maybe we can say that equal importance to quantitative and qualitative research with holistic vision and integrated approach. That has been the definition given by the Harvard School. And when we come to these concepts, there are certain related terms: interdisciplinary research, cross-disciplinary research, and transdisciplinary research, along with multidisciplinary research. Let us see what they are. Multidisciplinary research, specifically explaining the term. It's a technique of research in which the tools of different sciences and disciplines are utilized to find an explanation to the issue under study. So it's a technique of research in which tools of different sciences and disciplines are utilized to find an explanation to the issue under study. How can we conduct this study? Here, various disciplines address scientific and social challenges independently rather than in collaboration, and thus share research findings. They are doing independent research in their own disciplines. And at last, the findings are shared on a common platform. Impact of pollution can be studied by doctors. For example, pollution causes lung disease. These are studied by doctors. What is the cost of pollution? That is studied by economists. And what is the ecological impact? It is studied by environmentalists. And whether the laws are complied with, that is studied by legal experts. And these experts can study all these separately and combine this. and each discipline is following its own methodology of study, and at last they assemble all these findings to make a policy. That is research assembling. So multidisciplinary studies or research is also known as research assembling. Multidisciplinary education and research universities. MERU. MERU is the most recent attempts taken by the government in the new education policy. It's an attempt to raise Indian education and research to international standards. This is multidisciplinary research. Now, what is interdisciplinary research? Mode of research by teams or individuals that integrate data, techniques, tools, perspectives, concepts, and theories belonging to two or more disciplines. So they come together. Earlier in multidisciplinary studies, they were sitting apart, doing research in their own disciplines according to their own methodology, finding the results, and last they were assembling all these. But here, everybody is sitting together, and there is an intermingling, easy solution of problems that go beyond the dimension of one subject or discipline. If the problem is beyond one discipline, if various experts from various disciplines come together and sit together and do research together, they can find the solution easily. For example, analyzing a scripture from the literary, ethical, and historical points of view under one study. Study is one. In the earlier one, studies were different. So here, we can define the interdisciplinary research as one study by integrating different aspects of a problem belonging to two or more subjects. And this can be called research manufacturing. So it's manufacturing research. The other is assembling, research assembling, because spare parts are bought from other places and only assembling is there. Whereas in the interdisciplinary research, it is being manufactured. The next one is transdisciplinary research. Many researchers from different disciplines jointly working, but efforts to create new conceptual, theoretical, methodological, and translational. Translational means applying theory in practice or one theory in another subject. Translational innovations that integrate and move beyond discipline. Specific approaches to address a common problem or issue. Generation of new branches of study, example, meta-economics and metaphysics. And this type of transdisciplinary research, it go beyond the discipline and reaches a new area. And here we can say that the experts of this particular studies are sitting together, maybe sitting together, may not be sitting together, but their ideas and methodologies and concepts that create a different environment in which new ideas may emerge, innovations that integrate and move beyond discipline, specific approaches to address common problem or issues. So from economics, through adopting the methodology of economics and integrating it sometimes with the methodology of political science, sometimes with methodology of psychology, it can go beyond economics. Meta-economical phenomena, meta-economics, metaphysics, from physics to philosophy, it may reach. In interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary, this new area may not be reached. The beyond disciplines may not occur, but here, through the research, beyond discipline, that is the peculiar characteristic of the transdisciplinary research. And it is a synergic study. Synergic study means when you combine two or more disciplines, the result that come may be beyond those two disciplines. Then last one is the cross-disciplinary research. Cross-disciplinary research refers to research and creative practices that involve two or more academic disciplines. Actually, I can't find much distinction between the other types of researches and cross-disciplinary research. Using disciplinary insight side by side with much more integrative or transformative approaches, and cross-disciplinary research encompasses the inter, multi, and transdisciplinary researches. Thus, we find that a holistic and multidisciplinary education would aim to develop all capacities of human beings: physical, emotional, intellectual, aesthetic, moral, spiritual, and social in an integrated manner. This is the definition given in the NEP 2020. And therefore, friends, I am of the opinion that gone are the days of unidisciplinary studies. Gone are the days of specializations. When I say gone are the days, it doesn't mean that we have to completely relinquish or reject the unidisciplinary studies, but the importance that we had given to the specializations is not getting importance as of now. It is relegated to a secondary position, and combined studies, integrated approach, holistic vision, and multidisciplinary researchers are the words of the day. They are the most modern trends. And when we are seeking truth in the phenomenon of society, we should be very much aware of these things. Thank you very much for being attentive. And I think that there was no disruption in my class because sometimes technology may deceive us. And I hope that there was no technological problem, no eruption of technological problem. So let me wind up. And thank you, Dr. Anu, for having given me such an opportunity to share these ideas.
Thank you, sir. The section was informative. Now it's time for the question action section. The audience can put the questions on the chat box. Now I invite Dr. Anu Anthony, Assistant Professor, Accuracy and PG Course Coordinator, for presenting the token of appreciation to a resource person.
Any reactions, any interactions you need?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening. Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm listening. My question is regarding the expenses on the defense material or defense equipment.
Could you increase your volume a little bit because I find it very difficult to hear you. Hello?
My question is regarding the defense equipment expenses. Can we say that it is of course,
Sir, your voice is broken. I don't know what happened. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, please.
Is it clear now?
It's not clear. That's it. It's blurred voice, just like blurred vision.
Okay, now it is very clear, I think. Hello?
Please.
My opinion is if all over the world, every country will decide that they are going to reduce their expenses on defense equipment by 1%. What changes do you expect?
It's raining here. That may be the reason. I can't pick up the question. Could you please use the screen?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, my email ID is there, or you ask Anu Anthony. We can be in touch. You can ask the questions. You can send me email. Okay. Because otherwise, I don't find that this is feasible now because of some technical errors.
Yeah.
Next, I invite Ms. Alina to express the words of gratitude.
A warm good evening to one and all present here. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this prestigious occasion. First of all, I thank Dr. Murali Vallavan, Director, Marian College, Kuttikanam, for the fruitful and informative section. Thank you, sir. Next, I
Thank you very
thank
much.
Rohit Chiraguri CMI, Principal, Christiodi College, and Dr. Varghese Anani sir, Vice Principal and HOD of Commerce Department. I also thank Dr. Anu Anthony, Miss Organizing Secretary, for the guidance and support. Thank you, Miss. Last but not the least, I thank all the participants in and around the state for the active participation. Thank you. We have reached the end of the section. We express our sincere gratitude to each and everyone who attended this virtual section. Once again, special thanks to all. With this, we conclude. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.